His Excellency Denis Francois, President of the 78th United Nations General Assembly, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Ambassadors, Heads of Delegation, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by extending sympathy to all nations experiencing loss of lives due to recent natural disaster. May the souls of all the faithful departed rest in perfect peace. I'm honored to address these 78th sessions of the United Nations General Assembly on behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Liberia. I congratulate His Excellency Mr. Denis Francois on his elections as President of the 78 sections of the United Nations General Assembly, trusting that he will bring his word of experience to bear on the works of this august assembly. I wish to assure him of my delegation's further support as he steers the works of this assembly successfully in fulfillment of the expectation and confident repose in him. Let me use the occasion to congratulate your predecessor, His Excellency Saba Korosi, for the capable manner in which he administered the affairs of the 77th session of this General Assembly. Let me also commend His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, for the astute manner in which he continues to administer the affairs of the United Nations in these difficult and challenging times. His foresight, commitment, and dedication have kept the United Nations firmly on course. Mr. President, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, we have convened at a time when the world is faced with many challenges: security, social, economic, political, and natural disaster. We must exert our collective efforts to confront these challenges with a view of resolving them in order to have a safer, secure, and prosperous future. We must continue to promote global solidarity and rebuild trust in accelerating progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. The SDGs, by design, require bilateral and multilateral collaborations to achieve the result we seek. The theme of this year's debate, rebuilding trust, reuniting global solidarity, accelerating actions on the 2030 Agenda and its SDGs towards peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all, adequately captured our current global demands. There is a critical need to ensure that development assistance is aligned with SDG projects. That is why my delegation welcomes and supports the Secretary General agenda for actions to accelerate the implementation of existing agreements, including the Sustainable Development Goals, and to re-embrace global solidarity and find new ways to work together for the common good of mankind. As the world deals with unprecedented global political and security challenges, there are growing concerns about the proliferations of non-state armed actors, threats of nuclear escalations, and extreme climate conditions. These challenges continue to serve as obstacles to our quest for a safe and peaceful world. Reaching the 2030 vision is to ensure that the journey is secure through accountability and mutual understanding. Liberia is committed to the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. They are in line with our flagship National Development Plan, the Pro-Po Agenda for Prosperity and Development, which represents our resolve to achieve peace and prosperity while addressing the structural impediments to economic growth and national development. Mr. President, the slowdown in global economic growth continues to be a challenge. Over the past 12 months, Liberia has made progress in areas ranging from health to education, gender equality, and infrastructure.
Guys, there. Let me say hi to every one of you guys that tune in at this time of the day, and thank you so much for tuning in. It's school season, it's school time, so I have to take some time out to prepare my kids and go over their homework and other stuff like that. So I'd like to say thank you guys so much for taking your time out and coming joining me here. And I want to say thank you to everyone who continue to share the information that they believe need to come to me in order for me to discuss what is currently happening. Let me assure you guys, this man you see right here is going to win this election. Let me say it again. This man you see right here is going to win this election. All the other show that put in 1,000, this, they're not going. This platform is going to be one of the best platforms. This man here is going to win this election, hands down. Hands down, this man is going to win this election. You can doubt me all you want. This man is going to win the election. There are people who I have spoken to offline, and I already make it clear to them that this man is going to win the election. For me, I'm not going to argue. All I can just tell you guys is all I can do is to just come here and let you guys know what's going to happen. Joshua is going to win this election, hands down. Everything you see people masquerading around here, he is going to win this election. And the only thing that people will start to say, oh, the man cheated, the man this. Well, the international community not going to hear that bullshit you're talking. All right? Somebody said, I'm too low. What am I too low? Let me see here. Am I too low for you guys? Somebody say I'm too low here. Let me see. Can you guys hear me? Oh, people said they're not hearing me. You guys not hearing me? I say now, guys. Let me see here. Are you guys hearing me? Let me look at the channel down. Are you guys hearing me? Yango, can you hear me? All right. Somebody say I'm okay. All right. All right. Ansu say I'm okay. Monju say I'm okay. All right. I'm hearing a lot of people say I'm okay. All right. Good for me. Yeah, because myself here, I'm hearing myself here too. So I don't know. I'm hearing myself here. Let me just put it to you. Y'all get that feedback. I'm hearing myself here. I'm hearing myself here. Maybe I'll just try to hook up my speaker next time because I have my speaker here. I can hook it up next time so that we can have a very crystal clear voice. But for those of you who are claiming that you cannot hear me, please try to make the adjustment on your phone. You can, you can log out and log in and stuff like that, and that would be very, very helpful for you guys. So, Aaron Yango, what you seeing what again, Aaron? Aaron Yango said, Joe Boakai trying to. No, Yango, he can't do it. He can't do it. Well, anyway, let me just say hi and thank you to every one of you guys. Share the video. I already did mine already. let me just begin with where I started, and people say I was too low. Maybe him and Yango is right. Maybe there are some people from the Boakai camp who trying to distract me, but it's okay. They're not going to win anyway. So they need to focus on what is in their backyard right now. So, like I said, this president is going to be returned by the Liberian people. He's going to win this election. And the only thing that opposition going to say to you, oh, the election not fair. No, they have not been fair to the Liberian people, and they have not been saying the truth. We will come back here by next month in November. We'll come back here at this time. We'll say, we told you guys so. This election, this man is going to win this election here. All right? Now, before I venture into what happened today, because I got some video to show to you guys here, I want to sincerely apologize to you guys today. This morning, I was, I mean, how many guys watched the show this morning? So this morning, I was, pumping up my vibes this morning, and I got this call, and it was something about emergency at work, and I had to quickly get there to get the problem solved. The problem solved. We were very, very successful today. I want to bless God for that. Yeah, we're very, very successful today. We had a surprise visit, and we managed to pass with the flying colors. Yes, they came on us, and they creep on us. But thank God that we usually get ourselves prepared all the time. So we're very, very successful today, and we went through that process. So thank God for that great help that He gave us. And when you are a successful team, you work together. Like I always tell my man Pamboto, trust but verify. Today the men came to verify us today, and they have been trusting on what we said. So, you try calling me today? Yeah, I was busy today, Pamboto. I was busy today. Yes, I was busy. Today I watched my morning podcast. I had to cut that podcast off. So if you watch the podcast, I had to cut it off because there was some type of emergency call that came, and I had to take it. All right. So let me apologize. I didn't even give the show any title. I even said good morning to you guys, and so but that's what happened this morning, and I owe you guys that explanation today. Now I'm going to forward one this thing because I want to draw your attention to something very important here. All right, I want to draw your attention to something very important here. So let me see what I can get the president to where I really want to draw your attention. So let attempt to play again here what the president said.
To further the implementations of the Sustainable Development Goals as it represents the roadmap towards prosperity. I support Secretary General Antonio Guterres' proposed SDG stimulus plan and call for the actualizations of the $500 billion per year in order to boost sustainable development for developing countries through tackling the high cost of debt and rising risk of debt, distress, scaling up of affordable long-term financing for development, and expanding contingency financing to countries in need. Mr. President, Liberia profoundly appreciates the continued engagement and support from the United Nations system in consolidating its peace and seeking to address emerging challenges. Liberia will continue to cooperate and collaborate with the United Nations as it continues to rebuild and strengthen its institutions and infrastructure. Five years ago, on the occasion of my first address to this August Assembly, we informed you of a peaceful democratic transition that had just taken place.
I want to hold this. Let me tell you what your brothers and sisters who are on the bigger platform continue to do to our people. They continue to harm our people ignorance. That's what they continue to do. Instead of these guys trying to educate the people that listen to them, that follow them, they try to misinform them and misdirect them. And in the end, it becomes a complete chaos. When you listen to George Weah speak to the United Nations, the reason the United Nations was put together is to maintain peace around the world. When this man comes to the body to speak, he's coming with what we call international expectation and obligation that maintain peace across every country. When your brothers and sisters that got a different platform, instead of them helping our people to understand these international values that will make us to be a country, they tend to put lies into their politics, misinformation into their politics. I want you to listen to what George Weah is about to say in regards to the Liberian election, and then we'll break there and say something else. Let's listen here, folks.
In Liberia, with your support and that of our friends, we have kept the democratic torch burning. We have maintained peace and security. We have protected human rights and the rights of the media to operate peacefully and freely.
You hear what he just said? That is a report that stands out for the best. People who attend that General Assembly, there are people who represent those institutions. You got United Nations, you got European Union, you got the U.S. ambassador, the U.S. staff, the embassy itself, and all the other international partners are on our ground. And whatever Weah is saying, the people already got those information from the people who are present on the ground. All we are got to do is to just come and validate what is happening. Liberians think because they see George Weah as a regular Liberian, they think that anything they tell the people is going to work. The international community is not going to buy whatever dirty politics they play in our country, because this man is living up to the expectation of maintaining a peace of a country that have 14 years of civil conflict, where international partners took their personal taxpayer money from their country and helped to make Liberia a better country. That is what this president is trying to maintain and achieve. But you know what? I don't blame you guys. The problem with our country is illiteracy and lack of opportunity for many of our brothers to expand their minds. You see, many of us, we find ourselves to be a follower rather than leaders. So people who just sit on other platforms, they don't want to switch seat, they don't want to listen to the other side. They become so complacent. But the reality out there is these guys are making strive to ensure that many Liberian minds are kept below. I'm not going to make any argument here. I can't wait for October 10 to come next week. But this time around, you will start seeing that number going up. And watch. You know what they're going to come and say? Oh, they're cheating here, they're cheating here. That's not true. This election is going to be in a man's favor. Don't mind the Liberians. They have conditioned themselves to not understanding domestic politics. They have conditioned themselves to not understanding international politics. And the only thing they will end up saying in the end, oh, the man trying to cheat. But that will just simplify their ignorance into politics. And that's why I'm making the revelation here. Let's listen to the president here. Again, all right? Let's listen to the president here.
The Liberian people have enjoyed the full exercise of their constitutional rights. The country is well on course of consolidating its democratic credentials. I'm pleased to inform you again that in a few weeks, Liberia will go to the polls in keeping with the Liberian Constitution to vote in our scheduled presidential and legislative elections.
That's a very important message there. The expectation of any leader to not only assure their people, but to assure the world that I am opening up my commitment. It's like when somebody say they gotta go by the book. There are people who will want to do things by going by the book. This man stood before the United Nations, nation of all powerful nation. That is the United States, where the UN headquarters is, and told all the other presidents in our General Assembly that we got it's soon to be held election that is coming up. And I'm going to commit myself constitutionally. And then you got the other guys in around here just sitting on the platform because they know many of your brothers and sisters there. They are not, look, no disrespect, fellow Liberians, no disrespect. We are majority among the African countries in America here, so to speak. But the level of understanding of things, we are still struggling to understand some of these things. But luckily for us, we have found ourselves in the midst of these things, but we don't understand how it works. My point here is Liberians are sitting down and just listening to people who don't really understand what they are telling you guys from an international expectation as a nation that is part of the global body. What are some of the things that our leader will say that will draw attention to the international leaders and organizations and say, yes, we support this guy? They are not educating our people on these things. They keep it all politics local, but now what they're doing with the politics, the local politics, is they are injecting emotional reaction into the politics. That is, they are not giving the people the facts. They are not telling the people the true story. All they're doing is they are just giving the people garbage that continue to feel their emotion. When you look at God as Stanton Witherspoon, those of you that live in this country here, and some of you guys sit down on that man's show and really listen to him, it is nothing but a measure of our own IQ of who we are as human beings. But I just want to remind you about what the president is saying. Let's listen more here.
The October polls will mark the fourth peaceful general elections in Liberia since the end of the Civil War in 2003. This 78th session is taking place at a time when my country is preparing for the first election since the withdrawal of the UN peacekeeping presence from Liberia. The October 10 election is an opportunity to sustain the gains made in our reconstruction and development processes. Mr. President, Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the government of Liberia has taken all necessary measures to ensure a free, fair, transparent, peaceful, inclusive, and credible elections. The National Election Commission has been strengthened to ensure that it operates without undue influence. In addition, political parties have committed themselves to a non-violent electoral process by signing the 2023 Farmington River Declaration.
Let me hold you guys right there. How did we get to where we are today? From the Akrosomo to the Abuja to the Benin Accord, when we were at war, many warring factions went to the different countries to sign an accord to maintain the peace. And they did manage to maintain the peace. Today, we are looking forward to another election. This president is coming back and assuring Liberians that there was an agreement that was signed at the Farmington Hotel, one of the famous hotels. Today, I want to remind you that in 2005, especially in 2011, George Weah, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Joseph Boakai, in the presence of international communities, they went to that same Farmington Hotel and signed in the call to ensure that the 2011 election go forward so that people can vote, at least to give every Liberian the opportunity to participate in an election. Mr. Weah held on to that bargain, and the world remember him for a very long period of time. And he had that opportunity to prove himself that he is not a non-violent person. In respect of to that, last year, December, President Weah was invited to this country by President Biden to talk about food security, climate change, and having a rule of law in every country. Mr. Weah was here and he committed himself. He just left from here last month and he also reassured the people. But when your brothers and sisters didn't get ready, they're not telling the Liberian people some of the promises the president is making, both locally and internationally. But all they do is they put intimidation and emotion into the people. And that includes some of our political leaders. But today, something actually happened, and I want us to really listen to it today. Here we go.
To Liberia, although I've been in this job for just over a year now. I'm very happy to be here, especially at such an important time for the people of Liberia as you approach your national elections. I've had an energizing series of meetings so far with important stakeholders in this election over the past 2 days. I'm here representing the Department of State and the U.S. government's desire for Liberia to have free, fair, and peaceful elections. We're committed to supporting Liberia's democratic process. I'm coming to you after attending the United Nations General Assembly last week in New York.
You hear that? You hear that? You hear that? The reason the man is in this country called Liberia is to participate, as Liberian men would say, to witness our election. And what did you hear that man saying? The exact thing that George Weah said, that their expectation from the State Department is to ensure free and fair election. The lady sitting down there to his far right, some few days ago, she said she wanted to ensure that the international community have access to the election. People are laughing about it, ha ha ha. Today now the man have been sent by the Biden administration because the man was at the UN. He listened to what George Weah said and he referencing those things then. But when you listen to your brother and sister then around here, they are lucky because the guy is category of people that really don't understand how some of these things move up there. But because they have a little platform and most of them feel comfortable, they just sit down there, oh, the man will cheat, the man will do this. That's fine. I understand that. Our society has a lot of inequality of people because number one, the way we came out as a society and people, we were never trained to analyze things logically. We were never trained to discuss things with some level of comprehension. So I got it. But for us on the platform, we will always remind you guys about the importance of how Liberia continue to conduct itself. This guy you're looking at right here, what did he say? I'm here to ensure that we see a free and fair election. I was at the United Nations. Who did you just listen to before the guy came in? George Weah. What did George Weah say about the election when you were at the podium? Free and fair election. Do you think George Weah will get ready and go over there and start to do something under the promise he made? No. Who get charged in jail today? The UN decided to issue that declaration of human rights violation. They got him. Do you think George Weah will just come to the UN and can make all kind of empty promises? These guys are not showing the Liberian people what it means to commit yourself to international community, to believe in the system. If the white man can leave from here and go to Liberia and say, I'm here to ensure that you guys go through a free and fair election. Why can't we believe in our system? when you listen to Joe Boakai, the reason the man spoke, the man been in the country for a long time. The reason he decided to speak, because of what happened in Lofa County, or what happened in Bapul, whatever it is, or let's say in Fuya. Let's listen to him hear more again and hear what he has to say. Ain't that the white man the book and respect? That's what white man talking now, so let's listen to that.
And I would like to acknowledge President Weah for his remarks when he stood on a global stage and pledged his government's commitment to ensure, quote, a free, fair, transparent, peaceful, inclusive, and credible elections. End quote.
You hear that? The man is not repeating himself, but he said he's quoting what George Weah said. That is the white man there. That is the white man that I know. Instead of people holding George Weah to his words, they are there bringing intimidation. That's how the people will educate us. We must hold people to their words. That's what the whole thing means. We must hold people to their words. I didn't see Boakai coming out to say, you know what? George Weah was in the U.S. He told the General Assembly that there will be free and fair election. And we hold George Weah accountable to his words. No, Boakai did not say that. He did not say that. Boakai did not say that. What did Boakai say? Let's find the video and listen to what Boakai said. All right? Let me help you guys. Let's find the video and listen to what Boakai said the other day. Let's bring Boakai in here. Let he can't tell you what he said the other day. Let's bring Boakai in here. All right? Let's bring Boakai in here. Let he tell you what he said. Go ahead, Boakai. Speak for us.
And that's why you have to protect it. If they think they will see this election, you will not allow it. Because if you do it, that's the end of this country.
You see the kind of remarks? That is one of the triggers that got a man to speak. That got a man to speak. It's like the USA, you know what? Let's go and knock the table. I know they are a sovereign country, but there are people in there that want to go out of control. So let me go in there and knock the gavel. So when you listen to that man that's saying that by his words, let me quote George Weah, XYZ, he said at the UN, it's called accountability. That's what that man is saying, accountability. When people say things, they must hold themselves accountable. And that's why George Weah went out there and promised the people that there will be a free and fair, transparent election, and further explain how the the Election Commission will do everything to ensure. And how he also said we went at the Farmington Hotel and signed a peaceful resolution to ensure that the election will go straight. But then who came back again and started to say things outside of that agreement? Nobody else but Joseph Boakai. What Joseph Boakai and his supporters don't understand, Prince Johnson had been sanctioned, but Joseph Boakai allowed Prince Johnson to give him a vice presidential candidate. And they both sat down there and shook hands and showed to the world and told the world, I don't care what you do to Prince Johnson. I don't give a damn about what you guys do to Prince Johnson. He had given me a candidate. He's going to be campaigning for me. I don't give a damn about you guys. That is a disrespect to international bilateral understanding. That made Boakai to be someone who does not respect international rules, who do not understand bilateral relationship. Now, people will say, what about McGill? Well, let's stick with the same Prince Johnson man. Prince Johnson had been senator for 18 years, right? When Ellen was running, Prince Johnson went and met Ellen in his county. After that, did you see Prince Johnson going with Ellen across the other part of the other country during the election? No. All politics is local. Prince Johnson is a senator. When Ellen went there during her campaign season, Prince Johnson was there and said, oh, yeah, my people, the Oma here, yes, I will support the Oma. Politics is local. Besides that, he was not sanctioned at that time. But Ellen did not take him to go around the country because Ellen was too smart to see Prince Johnson all over her. Now, let's come to Nathaniel McGill. McGill is sanctioned. That's true. But the county he's running in to be a senator, the U.S. don't care. The U.S. will not express. But it is not a mandatory expression. The Kenyans will recommend. We recommend the people in McGill County, you cannot, we don't think it's a good idea. But democratically, we can't stop you. What did we learn from Prince Johnson? Prince Johnson was senator for 18 years. Or he has been senator for 18 years. But what happened? Once upon a time, they put him on the Armed Service Committee. Either he was the head or he was on that panel. What did the U.S. say? U.S. say, oh, the committee the guy coming on, he's not going to be local anymore. He is going to be someone who will want to interact with people out there beyond the border of Liberia. We don't want him. You're taken from there. And the Liberian Senate respectfully said, Prince Johnson, our international partner has spoken, so we don't need you. And I had it to Prince Johnson. My point here is Nathaniel McGill can run, Bill Traore can run, as long as they are elected by the people and only take things to the capital in Monrovia in the interest of the people, and they do not get on any big platform or committee that will interact with other international bodies. The international community will not have no problem, because you know what? All politics are local. The reason they will not have problem is because democratically the people can elect their own person. And that is why when Weah went to McGibby, Nathaniel McGill was there. But the question here is, since Weah left McGibby, have you seen McGill around Weah? No. That means that Weah respect what the international rule is. You can go to a county, see a guy who has been sanctioned, run your campaign there. When you finish, you wave your feet, you leave and go somewhere else. If that man were firing, if McGill were firing Weah from place to place, the U.S. will say, something is not right. You're doing business with a man. But that is a complete and separate case from Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson is going around telling, oh, let's do this for Boakai, let's do this for Boakai. They may have been sanctioned. The U.S. said they cannot do business with people who have been sanctioned. Boakai look at the entire warning the U.S. people gave, and he said, I don't care for a damn about what you say. And that's what Boakai did today. And I want the reason why Boakai will not win the election. I'll tell you that one tonight. Boakai has violated international agreement, standard. He's not going to win no election. He's not going to win no election. If you think the people now watching crook that stand on Witherspoon, criminal that stand on Witherspoon, if you think the people not watching him, you're wasting your time. The U.S. embassy right in our town, the Jai, you and myself can watch CNN, and we understand the Liberian politics. The U.S. embassy official in our country, they know about Stanton Witherspoon. They know what he's doing. So Boakai is digging himself into a hole that will sink him for the rest of his life, and he will never get to see that seat over there. So let's get back again to the man and listen to him again.
Quote. He went on to say that, quote, as a strong believer in democracy, let me reiterate my call for the respect of constitutional governance and respect for the will of the people, end quote. The U.S. government fully supports this commitment, and we continue to urge political leaders and parties in Liberia to keep their pledge to a nonviolent electoral process through their commitment to the 2023 Farmington River Declaration.
You hear that? Do you hear that? Or did you hear that? Boakai was part of that, right? Boakai was part of that. But did Boakai commit himself? No, he never did. What did he do? Listen.
And that's why you have to protect it. If you think they will see this election, you will not lie. Because if you do it, that's the end of this country.
You see that? He did not commit himself to the Farmington Agreement. And that's why the men will remind you. You see, one thing about the white man, many of you guys that work with them, they will wait until you make your mistake. And then they will come in intellectually, intelligently to tell you. Let's go listen to the white man again. Let's go by there again, listen to him again. Let's go by there and listen to him again. Let's go right by there again and listen to the white man again.
For the will of the people, end quote. The U.S. government fully supports this commitment, and we continue to urge political leaders and parties in Liberia to keep their pledge to a nonviolent electoral process through their commitment to the 2023 Farmington River Declaration. In my meetings with government officials, civil...
Why do you think, let me just ask you, why do you think this man, aside from Weah commitment at the UN about having a free, transparent election, why you think this man came and cited that commitment and also went into the Farmington River Agreement? Why do you think? Because of what Boakai said, and he's seeing the violence that is increasing in the country. That is why the man is coming out and reiterating those things. He's like, you know what? We are representing the country. That's fine. But the Farmington Hotel issue included other political parties. So let me just remind them. So let's see what's going forward. I can bet you tomorrow Joe Boakai will come out and tell the people in Lofa, say, you might not get in no trouble here. You might not put me in trouble. But it's too late for Joe Boakai. Because you know what the people already know? Joe Boakai got Prince Johnson behind him, who is a violent man. They know that. They know both Joe Boakai made that statement based on Prince Johnson holding his ear and saying things there. And they know Prince Johnson is a very dangerous man to the peace of that country. That's why now they tell him, say, go out there and make sure that our president is fair in that election. Their whole message here is going directly to both Joe Boakai and Prince Johnson. They know them. They know them. They know them. The president yesterday was in Zedru reiterating a peaceful election. Every time he goes somewhere, he talks about peaceful election. But when Joe Boakai will say when the people rig the election, instead of Joe Boakai educating the people that follow him to say, look, the president made the commitment that he will have a free and fair election. And let's see what Joe Weah will do. But Joe Boakai said, no, I'm not taking another route. If the election is rigged, according to him, we will cause the greatest damage in the country here. And that's why people look at the poster, but wait now. Who is this guy? Oh, he got a guy they call Prince Johnson. Oh, you mean the guy who murdered Doe? Yes. Oh, he behind this guy? Yes. And the guy making the remark? Yes. Oh, so he playing with the old boys. All right, let's go out there and set the tune. Make sure that he get it. That is Joseph Boakai, biggest mistake he made in his whole political career to allow Prince Johnson to give him a candidate. You think the American people don't know Prince Johnson's attitude? Joe Boakai need to sit down now and start to kick himself. He put his own foot in his mouth by allowing Prince Johnson to come and micromanage him. And that is where we are today with Joe Boakai. All right? Now, why again he came out with this issue here? Well, let's watch. Why you think the man came up? Because they know George Weah is a very peaceful man. Let's go again into something else and we'll come back. And I will always play this thing to remind you guys that the white men keep track of things. They know who George Weah is and they know where he came from. Let's watch the video here.
Thank you very much. When Arthur Ashe found fame, he did not close his eyes. He did not forget the many who could not share his fortune. When Arthur Ashe found fame, he used the equity of his celebrity to shine a light on ignorance and spark global understanding. Tonight, we honor another man who found fame and who chose not to forget, another man who begs the world to see and to understand. His name, like his country, may not be well known on this side of the Atlantic, but we're talking about a giant. His name is George Weah of Liberia. George Weah is one of the greatest soccer players of our time, from a nation where chaos has been the rule and where children are born killers. Spit upon, his house burned, risking death over and over again, George Weah has nonetheless gone home again and again and again. His relentless message of hope defies reason in an age of mindless terror and bottomless hatred. But this is a man born to be a striker, born to finish what he starts. George Weah refuses to close his eyes, and George Weah will never, ever let us forget how much work there is left to do.
I'm 16 years old. I born 1988, October 22nd. I was a leader. I was major. I used to lead 31 men every day to the front. Yeah, I'm tired of fighting now because there is no answer to war. I want peace for everlasting. I want for peace to be in the country for everlasting.
It began in 1980 with an assassination and violent coup d'etat. The government, in place for 133 years, was overthrown. And for over 2 decades thereafter, Liberia was overcome by civil war. Millions were displaced. The landscape was ravaged by poverty and disease. Hundreds of thousands were killed, including nearly an entire generation of children who had been drugged, beaten,
And guys, let me just say this here. Watching the video is one thing, but understanding the circumstances is another thing. And this is where I really want you to pay attention. I'm not showing the video continuously because I want to show it. I want people who come here and listen to me to understand what our people went through. Listen to what Denzel is explaining, see what is happening, and try to process that. And then ask yourself, when you see George Weah, do you think he's somebody, after everything he has done, that will want to see where he took the country from in terms of working with the international partners to bring the country to where he gave that opportunity to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in Boakai? Do you think he's willing to go back? And do you think the Liberian people are willing to go back into that same thing? So I want you to really take the video as a reference point that always remind you and myself that this is where we used to be before. And this very man, he came. So whether we like him or not, let people now go out there and start to put fear into the people. Start to recreate the very thing that many Liberians did not get to see today. All because they want political position. All right? So let's make progress here. All right? Let's make progress here.
brainwashed to serve in the murderous campaigns of warlords.
There is somebody here who is very aggressive, so what we'll do here, we'll just let him go, okay? Thank you, my friend, for being here. We appreciate you. All right? Thank you. All right, let me progress here.
The children here in Liberia has suffered enormously. Many of the kids, they've never done anything except hold an AK-47 and take lives.
We think maybe even up to 15,000 children have been involved in this war. They don't know where their mothers and fathers are, don't know where their brothers and sisters are. They are so angry about the war, they are so tired, they know the opportunities they've missed, and they want a future.
There was a light in Liberia that shined before and through the darkness. A game that offered a way to forget the war, and for one man, a way to rise above it altogether. George Weah grew up here, abandoned by his parents. He was one of 14 children raised by his grandmother. The only education he ever received was in the angles and artistry of soccer. His only classroom a dusty pitch near his home. And he quickly progressed from student to to master of the game.
Cross and where is there?
His people would come to call him King George, a title befitting the greatest player Africa ever produced.
Delivered into the net by Weah.
He rose to stardom at home and then internationally. In 1995, he became the only man ever to win the African, European, and World Player of the Year awards in the same year. Famous, rich, and revered, he was distanced from his embattled homeland by miles and stature. When he called from afar for UN intervention, the consequence was immediate and personal.
Oh yes, his house was looted, his cousin raped, and other family of his were affected. And as a result, they fled, went into exile.
Liberia has been such chaos and confusion, and it has affected George. The scars are pretty deep.
In these years, it was very difficult for me, coming from practice every day, watching television, Liberia on the news, people running away, people dying. So all I said to myself was, look, what can I do to better the situation in my country? I felt that Liberia is my country, that's my country, I must come back.
In 1997, at the height of the war, George Weah did come back, welcomed as a conquering hero. He supported the national soccer team with over $2 million of his own money. As a player and coach, he led the Lone Star to within one win of a World Cup berth in 2001, reviving the pride and hope that had been lost in Liberia for over a decade.
We started it together, we have to finish it.
The team served as a unifying force within that time. Rebel groups, warring factions. Whenever Lone Star was playing, they stopped fighting and then just glued to the TV and glued to the radio.
But the war continued. Still, Weah did not retreat to the safety and celebrity of his athletic life. The world's greatest striker stayed home and made peace his priority.
George Weah kept sport prevailing, no matter what was happening in Liberia. And he knows that he has a chance, with his international stardom, to actually keep the focus here for us a bit longer.
In December of 2003, a truce was declared, and Weah's efforts in Liberia have extended to saving lives.
So you guys can have a building for the children to go to school.
He now continues his struggle to restore the country, one child at a time.
Being with them, live with them, eat with them, play with them, I will know exactly what is going on. This is reality. I can run for reality. Every Liberian loves sports, so I know sports can play a vital role in the country, in our peace process, and sports can help the discipline the kids to unify them. Don't you go?
Through soccer, there's reconciliation, and you can work out aggression, you can work out competition, but you do it within a legitimized structure, that it's talent that ultimately makes the decision here. And that's why George Weah is a symbol, that you can do it, that there is hope.
Peace to Liberia! Peace to Liberia! Free education! Free education! Disarm! Disarm!
I want to say thanks to you all. God bless you, and I'll always come back.
Do you think that someone like that, after everything that he has done, do you think he is willing to undo all those things, all because of power? I don't believe that. I don't believe that. There have been history of this man that have been written. There are people who still believe in what he did. And there is nothing in my mind, my soul, my bone, that will convince me that he is now willing to have a free and fair election. And that is why when he went at the UN, he made that promise. Because he understands that he once worked with the UN before by getting the opposition Warren faction or the Warren faction in 2003, as you listen to Denzel Washington, to sign a peace accord to move the country forward. After everything he has done, the reason Joe Boakai does not care, because when you watch all the peace accord that was attended in the future, in the past, Joe Boakai was not part of the peace accord. He was just a regular guy like you and I. But at least you and I understand what we went through, and we don't want to repeat a backwardness. But when you listen to Joe Boakai, but let's listen to We Are Here again at the United Nations.
I'm pleased to inform you again that in a few weeks, Liberia will go to the polls in keeping with the Liberian Constitution to vote in our scheduled presidential and legislative elections. The October polls will mark the fourth peaceful general elections in Liberia since the end of the Civil War in 2003. This 78th section is taken.
You hear the consistency there? What did Denzel Washington say in his broadcast or his narrative of Mr. Weah? Mr. Weah did everything, and by 2003, the war came to an end. It had been a long time, but you heard that from Denzel Washington on that video that we just showed you. And Mr. Weah is coming back again and reminding Liberians that since we signed the truce where the war ended in 2003. Didn't you hear that, folks? You see, many Liberians have already been mentally destroyed. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. Many of your brothers and sisters that listen to these different so-called political talk shows, their minds have been mentally destroyed, damage completed. They are not teaching them the substances, the ingredients of how and how long it took to build Liberia up. But on the platform, we are not just here to impress numbers. If I had 20 people watching me, I'm very happy. If I get more than 20 people, I'm dead grateful to God. But I'm not a fan of numbers. I'm not a fan of number one. I'm dealing with a society of people who you got to actually process and reprocess. I'm not looking to get most of them, because if you look at most of the people who got the BB platform, one of you guys that listen to me every time, one of you guys represent 10 of the guys that go on the other different platform when it comes to understanding how to discuss the issue. What are the steps you need to take to discuss issue? What are some of the positions you must put yourself in? One of you guys that watch me here, you are one of you guys, it will take 10 of those guys to at least have a conversation with you, because they will all be confused and they will be adding up to things. So one of you guys are equivalent to 10 of those guys out there that watch this show. Because we are very concise, we are precise, we are very analytical, we are very logical of how we discuss things here. That's who we are. That's who we are. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand those things. Mr. Weah just stated in the statement here, since the end of the war in 2003, and you listen to Denzel Washington, that is the consistency of the man understanding where Liberia was and where he thinks he want to take Liberia. And I want you to understand that. Let's listen to him here again.
Taking place at the time when my country is preparing for the first election since the withdrawal of the UN peacekeeping presence from Liberia. The October 10 election is an opportunity to sustain the gains made in our reconstruction and development processes. Mr. President, Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the government of Liberia has taken all necessary measures to ensure a free, fair, transparent, peaceful, inclusive, and credible elections.
Let me hold the president right there. Let me hold the president right there. Denzel Washington quoted George Weah, and George Weah referenced that. Let's go back to the white man. All right? Let's go back to the white man.
Fair, transparent, peaceful, inclusive, and credible elections, end quote. He went on to say that,
You hear that? Let's just take it back small again. Let's take it back small.
peaceful, inclusive General Assembly last week in New York. And I would like to acknowledge President Weah for his remarks when he stood on a global stage and pledged his government's commitment to ensure, quote, a free, fair, transparent, peaceful, inclusive, and credible elections, end quote. He went on to say that, quote, as a strong believer in democracy, let me reiterate my call for the respect of constitutional governance and respect for the will of the people, end quote.
Do you think the white man will leave from here and just go and sit over there and don't believe in what George Weah told them? Let me say something to you guys here. All the book that Ellen knew or continued to say that she know, when George Bush visited Liberia, did you see George Bush giving Ellen Johnson Sirleaf money for the University of Liberia? Let me just remind you guys, when George Bush visited Liberia, what did he give the University of Liberia? Was that any money? No. He gave her books. Because George Bush, like the typical man, will laugh with you, but he don't trust you. But when you see these people coming by, knowing the resume that George Weah has, where he brought peace to the country. Yes, he brought peace to the country. Where he is now president and trying to help make the country successful. Where he has already committed himself. You think the people have forgotten? The very UN that he stood up to, or he stood among and said, I will have a peaceful and transparent election. That is why that Denzel Washington video, I will always show you on the platform here, so that I can remind Liberians, your brother and sister out there, they are only disinforming you guys and misinforming you guys. They're not helping you guys. I can see it, I can feel it. They are not giving you consistent information that is filled with facts and reality. All because they are into the thing personally for their own gain. So they believe that the lies they will tell will give them more popularity. But that is not the way that Liberia is supposed to be. Now, when you look at everything George Weah has done, and when you look at what Boakai said, let's go back to Boakai here again. Let's go back to Boakai here. We are running out of time. Let's listen to Boakai here again.
And that's why you have to protect it. If you think they will see this election, you will not lie. Because if you do it, that's the end of this country. And we're not going to allow that to happen.
So that's what he said. So when Boakai made that remark, prior to Boakai making a remark, let me remind you about what happened when Boakai named his campaign team and what happened. Let's watch.
I came and told people, I said that people is violent situation. Let him come.
So after the
So folks, you see another violent there. So today, another violence.
So the violence is getting so tense here today. The naming of the campaign team today by Joe Boakai. So you see here. So you see, it's actually happening.
So these are Joseph Boakai people, all right? Before the incident even happened in Foya, these are Boakai people. As you listen to the journalist doing the oral voice, you will imagine when the thing happened, that Boakai will immediately take to the airway and condemn this action and say, you know what, we have come a long way. This country went through a lot. Anyone who support me should not go out there in the name of the party or me to show to the world that we are violent people from a party. What happened over there is that was Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, head of the party. When nothing happened, today we will be referencing what Ellen said. But you see, Joseph Boakai don't have no feelings about what happened in our country. Because when the war came, he fled and never looked back until Weah in 2003, after working with the warring faction, the United Nations, the US, they brought the country back to some normalcy. That when he came back. So when he see the case behaving like this, there is no form of leadership to guard them and prevent them. Unless I was not around when anything happened. But I know, and you know, that after the thing happened, Joseph Boakai did not come out to say anything to rebut the bad behavior. But let's look at somebody's action in there. All right? Let's look at somebody's action in here.
It's actually happening here. So violence is actually... So this is what happening here right now. So...
Did you just see that guy throwing the rock? Did you just see that guy throw the rock? Yes, he threw that rock. And what did we see in Weah? The same rock throwing. Let's come back to the UN ambassador here again. It was all about election violence, right? You listen to the guy who is running after them with the camera, election violence. But I listen to what the man said after quoting George Weah's commitment to some level of transparent election. Let's hear what the man had to say about violence.
The U.S. government fully supports this commitment, and we continue to urge political leaders and parties in Liberia to keep their pledge to a nonviolent electoral process.
Is Joseph Boakai keeping his pledge to nonviolence? He's not keeping a pledge to nonviolence. He's not keeping a pledge to nonviolence. And that's why I keep telling you guys, these guys you're listening to on the different platform, they are not really understand what it means to listen to diplomat discussing diplomatic process. They don't understand these things. And you see how we're breaking it down for you guys here? That's what we do. The man talk about George Weah being a very transparent person who has committed himself, and then he can't talk about the Farmington Agreement. We spoke about non-violent, and now he's telling you now. So how do you relate that with the video you see and with what the man is saying? Who is at fault right now? And when you listen to Joe Boakai, this man was promoting violence when he said if they rig the election, there will be no more Liberia. Boakai was invoking, he has set the tone about that. So the video you just saw where the group of gangsters from the Unity Party attacking that young man. Thank God the area was very crowded out. If not, the unfortunate situation that happened in Weah, that could have been the second episode, all coming from the Boakai people. Let's listen to Boakai again. Let us listen to Joseph Boakai again. Let's go back and listen to Joe Boakai again and hear what he has to say again. All right? So let's go back to Boakai again.
That's why you have to protect it. If you think they will see this election, you will not lie. Because if you do it, that's the end of this country. And we're not going to allow that to happen.
So this is a man that got no evidence, no iota of truth of what he's saying. But you know what he has done? It's too late. The gangster and the gangs that are behind Joe Boakai, they have already resurrected. Listen to this.
Sangochu, the chairperson of the 800 militant in Weah.
You said the chairperson of what?
The 800 militant.
When you say 800 militants in Weah, tell us a bit about this group.
From the Unity Party.
You are militants for the Unity Party.
Of course.
What is your work? What do you do? What exactly are you involved with?
Well, we just formed this group as militant, and let me just tell you, is to protect our parents, also protect the party.
So what are you doing exactly?
You hear what the man is saying there? This man have a very strong Sierra Leone accent. From what I understand, the thing that took place in Afoya, they got the Gisi people that come from Guinea, and they got the Gisi people that come from Sierra Leone. It is my understanding that the fatality that took place over there, it happens on the side of the tribe that came from Guinea, from Sierra Leone, the Gisi people. That's what I'm hearing. And right now, the Gisi people are not too happy that they lost one of their own. And I hope that they will come together and tell Joe Boakai that what he said in lack, it had gone wide. The people have understood it now, and they are taking action. You listen to this guy, and those are the things that the U.S. envoy saw and like, no. Whatever the job Weah man brought to an end in 2003, he was here in opposition for 12 years. We never saw anything like this. We had to come and speak. We had to come and speak. When Joseph Boakai speak, he don't speak about peace. He speak about insecurity. He create violence. This man got no message for the people of Liberia. He knows he's not going to win no election. And that's why he has now established this group now. And this guy is so brave now. And you think Joe Boakai is going to say anything about this? No, he's not going to say anything about this. You think they put behind Joe Boakai, the people that are running the different show, you think they're going to say anything about it? Which platform are you going on now that will say we condemn the action here? None of these guys are going to say those things. But you know, the people enjoy these things because that is where they find comfort. The post-war generation, majority of them, they love to see violence. But for some of us, we remind you guys that violence does not bring any peace to the country. Mr. Weah has said this thing over and over. You may not like Mr. Weah, but don't create insecurity in the country. Don't give reason that somebody will die innocently. Now you hear the man telling you say that they got their own 1,800 men now. All because of power. When last did you hear CDC 12 years in opposition? That they say, oh, we got this people here or that people here. No. When Mr. Weah was in the leadership role, there was always a time, gentlemen, yes. Gentlemen, yeah, your wait. So this is where Joe Boakai has brought the country now, folks. This is where Joe Boakai has brought the country. First time in the history for an American man to fly and say, look, Mr. Weah promised it, but we need to tell political leader them. So when you listen to the white man talking here, now you listen to the other guy right here, right? Let's listen to the man here again. The Joseph Boakai supporter here, defender of Joseph Boakai.
The chairperson of the 800 militant in Weah.
You said the chairperson of what?
The 800 militant.
When you say 800 militants in Weah, tell us a bit about this group.
From the Unity Party.
You are militants for the Unity Party.
Of course.
What is your work? What do you do? What exactly are you involved with?
Well,
Joseph Boakai need to condemn this thing. He need to completely disassociate himself with these people. He need to disassociate himself with these people. Because if the guy is saying that, because I like the way the journalist, and the journalists, I must give him credit. And most of the time, I tend to not really pay attention to them. This guy, he reiterated his question to this guy. And the guy openly admitted for the second time that he's doing things in the name of Joseph Boakai Unity Party. He's not saying that we are maintaining peace. He said they already established 800 men. So the lack of message for the people of Weah, the lack of message for the people of Lofa and Gbapolu is to create intimidation in the people. And that's why Joe Boakai made that remark. And you think Joe Boakai will come by and say, I'm sorry for what I said? I misspoke? No. So what happened in Monrovia, you saw those people attacking that other young man, throwing stone after him. Joe Boakai did not say anything. The next thing he said, there will be no war. There will be no country if the election is rigged. And guess what happened in Weah? The people went on the rampage over the weekend. And now we have this other guy now who said he got 800 men now. When you listen to Master Words, did you hear Master Word creating any confusion in that country? Let's bring Master Word in here. All right? So that two people now from that area there, where Boakai is from. When you listen to one of them is saying something very, very good, and the other one is saying something very, very bad. When you listen to Master Words describing what Boakai has done, you will not hear anything that comes from his mouth. Let's listen to Master Words now, all right? This is Joe Weah guy here. You just listen to Boakai part of guy. Let's listen to Joe Weah guy.
Well, we are staying in Lofa County, like I told you this morning. We are on our way, and we've been going to towns and villages to interact with the people and disabuse the minds of Liberians that say Lofa County is the stronghold of Joseph Boakai. So, a young man just walked up to me and want to express his dissatisfaction on the speculations in Monserrado County. So let me get your name.
My name is Amara M. Trawale Jr. Many people call me Master Words, and I'm the chairman and the founder of the movement of the downtrodden youth of Bonjama district.
So, and you walked to me very angry this morning, and what is the reason for that anger that you came to me with?
I'm very desperate, even more than anger, because people sit in Monrovia there and say that this place is already controlled by the Vice President Joseph Boakai. That is a blatant lie. A blatant lie. You know, we the Levines, we are even disappointed over Boakai. We are disappointed in his leadership.
What do you mean you are disappointed? Boakai being a man from Lofa County, and you being from Lofa County, then you say you're disappointed. Why are you disappointed?
And that's the thing, in fact, that we mislead us, because he's from Lofa County, so we should vote him in even if he is not qualified for the position.
You mean Boakai is not qualified?
Well, qualification does not have to only deal with education. He got the education, but the experience to move this country forward, he doesn't have it, because he's been on board for the past 12 years. What he didn't do, you anticipate him to do something more than that? That's the area where the disqualification comes in. I'm not saying that he's not educated, but he's not qualified to move this country forward. And the kind of a conception, the kind of a mind that people have in Monrovia there, they sit and say, this place controlled by Joseph Boakai is lie. You know, you know very well, we were in Bakedu yesterday. I'm from Bakedu anyway.
Oh, you're from Bakedu?
I'm from Bakedu anyway, the Kodobone district. You know, you were there yesterday, and you saw the kind of momentum. You know, and even when George Weah entered the town a couple of days ago, the entire Bonjama was on fire politically. When Joseph Boakai came, this town was looking like it was even sleeping.
You joking?
You know? I'm not joking. I'm telling you something from the bottom of my heart. I'm a mastercratic leader. I control 315 members, 315 youth in this district. And let me tell you something. Joseph Boakai has no tangibles to point at in Lofa here. If anybody is daring me, let anybody come up and say Joseph Boakai has chicken horse in Bonjama here, not to even talk about building.
All right, so let me hold this guy there, right? So you see how well he articulated the issue. It's more about Joseph Boakai's inability to deliver for the people of that county. And he felt that Joseph Boakai not being able to deliver for that county is in no way, shape, and form to be president of the country. Now, when you listen to Joseph Boakai, part of guy, this is George Weah guy. He said he got 300 members that are part of the youth, you know, activities or organization he controls. But when you listen to Joseph Boakai guy, this guy was in 2017. He's still around, just spoke recently. But when you listen to Joseph Boakai man who just spoke over the weekend, you want to see the difference? Let me show you the difference.
Songochu, the chairperson of the 800 militant in Weah.
You said the chairperson of what?
The 800 militant.
When you say 800 militants in Weah, tell us a bit about this group.
From the United Party.
You are militants for the United Party.
Of course.
What is your work? What do you do? What exactly are you involved with?
Well, we just formed this group
as mentioned, and let me just tell you, is to protect our parents, also protect the party. So what are you doing exactly today since this?
So you see the difference there? The mastercratic leader of George Weah was only focused on Joe Boakai's inability to lead. This Joe Boakai supporter, according to him, he had gathered 800 militants to defend the Unity Party and defend the people of that county. That's not election. That is election violence. That is not a conversation. And that is why this guy, you see here, that is why he came out to let us know.
Let me reiterate my call for the respect of constitutional governance and respect for the will of the people. End quote. The U.S. government fully supports this commitment, and we continue to urge political leaders and parties in Liberia to keep their pledge to a nonviolent electoral process through their commitment to the 2023 Farmington River Declaration. In my meetings with government officials, civil society leaders, political parties, and the National Elections Commission, I have appreciated the candor and focus on making the upcoming elections successful.
But Joe Boakai is not thinking about that. Joe Boakai is not thinking about that. Joe Boakai is thinking about violence because that's all he knows. He has no message for the people. So how do we remember Joe Boakai this evening before we close?
That's why you have to protect it. If they think they will see this election, you will not lie. Because if you do it, that's the end of this country.
Can you imagine that? A man who claimed to have 45 years of public experience, a man who served as vice president. Do you think if Obama hear the guy making such a poor and threatening remarks, do you think Obama will ever want to meet with him again? Absolutely not. But this is what we are, folks. You can tell the difference from a leader who wants to make the country better, and you can hear from his followers who are trying to maintain the peace. Joseph Boakai is not a man of peace. He's a man of instability. He are proving it by bringing human elements around him, like Prince Johnson, like the other criminal in America here, and other people around him, that clearly show that he's not up for peace. He doesn't respect the dead, the people who died, to ensure that our country have a second thought to move forward. He got in his circle, in his inner circle, man like Prince Johnson. He has in his inner circle a criminal that is supposed to be going to court to determine how long he might be in jail for. These are the people that Joe Boakai got around him. But we know that the Liberian people clearly know who Joe Boakai is. To allow and see his fellow countrymen stoned to death by his own people, and up to now Joe Boakai had not called for any investigation. That tell you to what extent that this man's heart is so cold that he doesn't care even people who are from his own county. We will continue on the broadcast. We'll continue to speak to the Liberian people because this election is very crucial. The Alpha generation, their future is on the line. The peace that Mr. Weah, the UN, the United Nations, the United States, the European Community, ECOWAS, that they help to bring to Liberia. Joseph Boakai want to take the country back. Liberia must move forward. And the only way they can move forward is by doing things democratically. Mr. Weah, for the past 5.5 years, we saw many opposition coming to power. Tyrus Dillon, Nomli Kanga got re-elected, Simeon Taylor, even the guy who joined CDC later on from Lofa. All these guys that came to power, it was under George Weah administration. Something that is very, very uncommon to see in Africa, where a leading party But yet, with all of that, Joe Boakai still believe that violence is the answer because that's all he knows. So as you go to the election, we told you guys from the beginning that the election will be based on the character of individuals. The issue must be discussed and the solution must be provided that will determine the direction of this country. But now you know that Joe Boakai's direction is to take the country to war. He said it. We have the audio. You listen to it. Now we're seeing the action of the people that support him. They are already starting to take people's lives. They have gathered 800 men. Who knows? Tomorrow might be another 800. It may be averaging 16,000, 32,000, 64,000. And you name those numbers. And the next thing you know, we'll find ourselves into chaos. Joe Boakai doesn't care. Because the age Joe Boakai is currently at right now, he doesn't care. They may have all lived his life. But he wants to see a destruction. Though offer him opportunity twice, he honor perform. Amos offer him opportunity, he honor perform. Ellen Johnson said he honor perform. And because of his poor performance over the years, he know he cannot compete. He ran away and drove Cummings out of there because he does not believe in competition and established himself just as a loner, a man who self-declared himself as a standard bearer. And now he cannot remove George Weah out of the way and other political candidate. So what is he doing now as part of his tricks? It is to incite violence into people. And we are seeing it. The war is watching. Until then, have yourself a blessed night. Let us continue to pray for our country. You may dislike Josh Weah, but don't incite people for violence, because he's a man who was against violence and brought various warring factions together to lay down their arms and let make a better Liberia. You may disagree with Josh Weah, but disagree with him on the issue. Don't disagree with him by inciting violence in the country. This is why the platform will remain one of the best, because when we see George Weah doing the wrong thing, we criticize him. When he does the right thing, we praise him. But for Boakai, I don't remember or recall when he ever said the right thing. Until then, have yourself a blessed night. God bless you guys. Take care. This is J. Randy here. I'm out. Bye.